where would you put yourself in this thing that I was illustrating with the willpower question?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, the Muslims talk about Mektoub being everything is just destiny, and that it's all God's will, and morality is coming from above. But then I have to question that, because if morality was coming from above and it's not just free will, then why isn't everyone making the right choices? Why is everyone?
Oh my God. Can we go into that? Can we? Because you have to bounce soon. Can we go into that?
Yeah, of course. That's why
Okay.
I brought it up.
So,
I figured we're getting this way.
Okay, so, do you think that?
Finish him.
No, it's not like that. Do you think that, let's say, female genital mutilation is wrong? That it's wrong to do that to little girls?
I've heard this argument a million times, but let's just go through it. Yes.
Okay, so.
I already know where you're going, but
if we killed everyone on Earth that thought it was wrong, and everyone left on Earth thought it was right, would it be right?
No.
So that proves that morality is not a human construct. You just explained to me that if every human on Earth,
but that's just how I feel based on my life experiences. You have to go into my.
But if you were dead, it would still be wrong.
But that's what I'm saying. To them, their life experience, however the fuck they got to that answer that they think mutilating people is wrong, right? That's based on some experiences that they went through.
They're wrong. They're wrong.
They're wrong to our worldview.
No,
yes.
They're objectively wrong. They are actually wrong. It is actually wrong. They're incorrect. They are just.
Why
like
is it objectively wrong? This is the same question you asked me. Why is it objectively wrong? See, now I'm just
because you have an implanted. It is actually part of your mind, a moral faculty that can be developed to more accurately and less accurately perceive rightness and wrongness. And when someone explains to you the process of doing female genital mutilation and you recoil from it, that is an accurate perception of morality your mind is making, just like when you look at a red shirt and notice that it is red. The morality is external to your mind and you are accurately perceiving it. And that's why, I'll let you talk. That's why you were correct. You instinctually answered, you're correct. If we killed everyone on Earth that thought it was wrong, would it still be wrong? Yes, because its wrongness is not conditional.
Because of my experiences and my knowledge, my knowledge.
I mean, look at women in the West nowadays. Is that right? Either.
So that means that if we killed everyone who thought it was wrong, that it wouldn't be wrong.
If I was an ape that didn't know better, I might think it's okay.
You would be wrong.
Animals might think it's okay.
So you have to amend your answer and say that if we killed everyone on Earth who thought it was wrong, it would not actually still be wrong.
I think it's wrong.
But if we killed everyone on Earth who thought female genital mutilation was wrong, it would not actually be wrong. People were doing it. There would be nothing wrong occurring.
So say that. Slow down. Say that.
Okay. I go around. We kill everyone on Earth who thinks that female genital mutilation is wrong. Every living person thinks it's good, and they're doing it.
Okay.
You're explaining that yeah. Okay, but so you think it's wrong, but it's just arbitrary. In that scenario, actually nothing wrong is occurring.
Right.
So you can imagine a planet where everyone's doing female genital mutilation and nothing wrong is occurring?
So, but this is a linguistic. If everyone's okay, it's like everyone's doing female mutilation. The thing is, why? They're just doing it for a reason. They're not just.
It doesn't matter why they're wrong. They're doing some fucked up weird shit.
Well, they believe it's the purity of the feminine.
That's where this argument is bullshit. Because
no. Why? You're trying. Look, I'm saying this seriously. Like, I'm not joking. I'm saying this out of love because I care about your spirit. You are trying to reach for an explanation, but why they're doing it doesn't matter. If I rape someone, hold on. No, it doesn't matter. If I rape someone, it doesn't matter why I did it. It's still wrong. If I murder someone, doesn't matter why I did it. It's still wrong. And in the scenario we're describing,
I can answer why. Can you answer why it's wrong? Is because God told you?
Because there's a morality encoded into the physical universe, and it does come from God.
It's wrong because when you see a woman get raped and you see them screaming and crying and in pain, and they're telling you this, that's how we know that. There's a thing we can see and we can demonstrate.
So those girls would be screaming in the scenario where we killed everyone who thought it was wrong. You're explaining why it's still wrong. It would still be wrong in that scenario.
Is that happening right now?
It doesn't matter. It's a thought experiment.
It does matter. Exactly. You could think a thought experiment is if I lived.
That's what I mean. How do we know it's wrong? What if someone's into what if a woman is into edge play and it's simulating the which I mean, by the way, Owen, we have to avoid that.
And it'd be right. If she's into it, that's right.
Okay, but then when we say that the actual act itself is in itself morally an objective level terrible, so then if a woman says that I want that to happen to me, then that you would say, okay, you have a mental problem, That's terrible.
That's what I would think. Right. Exactly. I would think that based on my knowledge, based on my understanding, based on experience of my life. I didn't just wake up one day and just understand what rape is. I had to learn what rape is.
Exactly. You're correct.
I wasn't born with it though. I had to be taught that.
Who cares? You're still correct.
That's why animals.
But I would argue that this argument that you're born. I don't know. I think you are born with some form of moral sense.
Have you seen how cheetahs and apes act in nature? They do fucked up shit.
Yes.
They eat those balls and shit, dude.
Yes, there's an intrinsic difference between man and animals. You are correct.
Where we're at. It's evolution. It comes down to evolution.
No, I want to get to.
Wait. Let me get one more. This is so interesting.
Okay.
Dude, how could evolution tell you that rape is wrong? If I go rape 100 women and I have 100 more
there
kids,
is a thing called the rape ape theory, by the way. There is something called the rape ape theory, by the way, where they say that men who are more capable of it actually had an evolutionary advantage because they could conquer more peoples and spread their genes more. There is that theory. By the way, shout out to my friend Matthew Parrott. Shout out to Keith.
Wait, hold on. Let's get a response from Gnostic.
Anyway, I'll stop. Wait, I'll stop pushing it, but I just want to say seriously, someone told me that when I was 19, what I just told you, and I thought about it for 10 years and I could never put it down. And that is proof that God is real. 100%. Yes, it is, dude, because there is objective morality. And I think that later when you think about it, you'll imagine a planet.
No, I thought about it for years too. I've been hearing the same argument. I already knew what you were going to say.
But you explained to me why I'm correct. You said they're screaming and you hear it and you know it's wrong. Exactly. But you hearing it doesn't make it wrong.
It's wrong. It always comes back to the individual. It always comes back to how much knowledge and understanding and life experience and evolution. And Gio made up a good point saying that in some cases, natural selection favors the bad people because they conquer, which explains why we have fucked up humans in our society.
Okay, last question. Can someone misperceive reality? Can someone perceive reality incorrectly?
Of course.
So then it doesn't matter that you're appealing to someone perceiving reality incorrectly.
It doesn't. But at some point, you have to come to your own understanding at some point. And you're right. We can all just be like, nothing matters. Nobody knows, it's all an illusion. We can do that if we want. But at some point, you gotta just get real about it.
Exactly. Get real. It's real. Exactly, bro.
There is something going to blow your mind. There's a Science Direct article.
Exactly. It's real.
Posted. Science Direct, forcible rape and evolutionary perspective. This is the rape ape theory. So this is going to blow your mind for all you science cells out there. Oh my God. Terrible. Anyways,
wait, hold on. Hold on. We're going to go back to the psychedelics, but I wanted to find out, although it's probably going to be too long.
You want to talk about rape ape?
Hold on. Owen,
about?
when you were talking about this spiritual understanding where you can prove that this is objectively right or something is objectively wrong, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but beyond just saying that you believe that there is this spiritual objectivity, how would you be able to let us know whether that's the case or not, beyond just saying that this is spiritually objective?
Because everyone, in order to be a sane person, acts and behaves as though certain things are wrong. And when we encounter contraindications in those departments, literally no one treats them as subjective. So everyone that puts forth this view comes really strong out of the gate of like, well, it's just my opinion, it's just my view. But if I said, hey, I'm going to go beat my dog because it peed on my rug, you would have an intrinsic reaction and say that's wrong, you shouldn't be doing it. You would never say, it's not like a shirt. If it's subjective, it's just like a shirt.
Okay, but to be I
can demonstrate to you why I'm right.
Tell me.
Okay, law codes. Let's look at law codes. Let's look at the earliest law codes we have, the Ur-Nammu law code. This is before Hammurabi's code, right? Where it talks about what we should do to people who we think are guilty is we throw them over a cliff into the lake. If they survive, that means God said they were innocent. Then you keep progressing. You get to eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. And that's Hammurabi's code. Then you can keep progressing, and then you get into like biblical Deuteronomy stuff. As you progress through evolution, getting better and better. This is microevolution, not macro. As we progress and learn more things about ourselves, our law codes get better and better. All of a sudden, it's love your neighbor. All of a sudden, you got Jesus and Confucius and Buddha all saying the same thing around the same time. Wow, that's amazing. That's how you know our morality has been progressing.
What if there's an evolutionary advantage to rape?
Can I respond?
Come on, bro. Like,
you saying progressive and better implies an objective standard. If it was truly subjective, then you wouldn't be able to say better. A red shirt is not better than a blue shirt because it's subjective.
Wait,
no, it's not. It's not linguistic. It is actually intrinsically related.
Gnostic, I just informed you of an evolutionary advantage to rape. So are you going to base morality on evolution?
No, it could go bad too. There's ways we can descend bad and evolution as well. That's what natural selection is. We can die out. We can think that it's cool.
Right.
We can think it's cool and just fuck the whole climate up and all die. That could happen.
But I'm saying but my point, okay, as provocative as it is, and I know it's funny, haha, 4chan humor, but I'm saying the point being is that when you predicate something as deep as human morality into a framework that is purely materialistic, then you can justify any sort of will to power. You know what I mean? That's my point. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at.
You can. I'll accept that. You can.
All right.
No, but to be devil's advocate, but to be devil's advocate a bit here.
Back in the day, my buddy Matthew was talking about this in the DMs, and I go, "What the fuck is this crap?" Now I know. Now I've demonstrated the use of the rape ape theory.
Yes, indeed. And now I'm thinking about all those gooning orangutans. You remember what Sonny was talking about? And
God.
Yeah, no, but to be a bit of a devil's advocate
they
here.
Only do it in captivity, love.
No, but to be a bit of a devil's advocate here for the other position, which I wouldn't say, like, I'd say here at least I'm closer to, like, even though I'm not somebody who would want to be in an organized religion, I still lean closer to the idea that there is this spiritual sense that people would have over time, and it could go down too, but I would say that there is some kind of a spiritual understanding people would get over time, wherein the unmoved mover of certain laws would not be only for convenience well, let's not punch each other, but there is also a certain understanding that would develop in tandem with the people that would encourage this to be passed on. But to be devil's advocate for that position, we could say, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is just, Owen, what you were talking about, if you have all these people, except for like the craziest, who all detest certain things and would find them morally objectionable, well, maybe all those people grew up in this certain way with a certain system and ways of being, that they're just used to being in this particular pattern, and it's very materialistic, and there's nothing more than that. I'm not saying I believe that, but that would be the counter I would give to what you were saying. Well, it's most people, so it would be then most people decided on this, and that's why it's objectively correct. Would that be wrong or not?
Well, the thing is, I think that having to appeal to someone that is raised in a situation that makes their mind deficient proves what I'm saying. You have to point to someone like, well, if you were raised in a room of funhouse mirrors, you wouldn't be able to see in 3D. So it's really just subjective. But the fact that you have to appeal to someone who's raised in a kind of demented situation shows that we all think that healthy, well-developed moral faculties would perceive things in this way, which we all act like, by the way, every day.
But there are still examples. You could look at the Middle East. You can look at various places where things are not so sunny, despite there being a very heavily religious, very based, groundwork on the faith that people have. And there you could say that things are proceeding very similar to how they would have been during the times of Hammurabi, if not before, in certain jurisdictions. So I wouldn't be able to say that the majority of the people who would condone that or who would look the other way are somehow morally equal to people who were raised under this very different kind of system of laws. Not to say that this is the only reason why they act this way, as far as like people who were raised under this different system of laws, but to be devil's advocate again for Gnostic's position here, maybe we could leave the spirituality aside and say, this part of the world, look at the way that they conduct their society, look at the systems of laws they have, then look at the system of laws in this other place. Wouldn't that be sufficient?
Well, the thing is, though, in order to fully lean into that position, though, you would have to be yourself relativist about the whole situation, which no one is. You would have to look at the development, for example, of the U.S. transitioning from a slavery-based, it's not slavery-based, but we had slavery, transitioning to not having slavery. And you would have to see that as a lateral move where nothing actually improved. But no one does that because we know that it's better to not have slavery. If you really thought this way, you would say, well, the U.S. got rid of slavery, but it was arbitrary. I mean, yeah, I guess I think that's cool, but maybe it was bad, maybe it was good. Who can say? We can't really say. But no one lives and operates that way.
Well, the people who have slave markets right now in Libya, they'd operate that way. You know, they maybe not have that much of a problem with that.
So then why? This is where the question comes in. Why does it happen then and not 500 years before that, when Christianity was ruling the West? Why does it happen after the Enlightenment, when people stopped being run by the church or run by monarchies, and we have more rational thinkers and we have a scientific movement? Why all of a sudden liberal and human rights all of a sudden a big deal when it wasn't?
Well, these ideas are more ancient than people know. I mean, they've been in antiquity. A lot of these ideas were present. Sorry, go ahead, Owen.
Well, it's also because people are imperfect and they're constrained by their material and historic situation. That doesn't mean that those constraints then become what is real, but those constraints exist and are a factor. So for example, it was a lot easier. Civil War is a perfect example. It was a lot easier for people in the North to say, we sat down and thought about it. I mean, slavery is kind of bad. The people in the South, it was more difficult for them to do that because their society was based on slavery, at least in part. But that doesn't mean that you can then make the leap to say, so yeah, slavery is just kind of a wash.
Well, it actually was relative to whoever like in the South, they needed slavery because that was their economy. So they had to sort of like convince themselves that, it's okay, let's just keep it going. So it actually does come down to your understanding and your knowledge and your like I was saying, your experience and where your situation is.
Were they wrong to do that?
They were wrong. In my opinion, in my worldview, it was wrong. In your world, we agree on that. But there might be someone who thinks they were right. And we think they're wrong, and we say objectively that's wrong. But it really,
all right, DMTQuest, you settle this. You are the one who's going to settle this.
Well, it's going to be a closed loop. I feel like it's going to be a closed loop. I do want to hear what you have to say, but Anyway.
It's a difficult discussion. You guys are all over the place, man. I mean, I guess one of the things that come to mind in terms of inherent morality within humans, I guess, are we discussing adults, or are we discussing like all, I guess, age ranges? Because I think it's somewhat well known that like young children can be pretty abusive towards animals. Like it's almost like a regular thing, not like burning a dog or anything like that, but pulling on the tail and kind of just like physically sort of aggravating animals seems to be pretty common amongst kids. So is it sort of like a morality develops based on societal sort of, telling the kid not to do that? Or that's what I'm saying, like these things that Cyclops is bringing up in terms of what's inherent to us as humans, I don't know if it's so cut and dry. It seems like it could be a little bit complicated, especially when you're looking at young children and how they treat each other, how they treat animals, with no sort of guidance or parental supervision and things of that nature.
That's a good point. There's cases where kids who have like no guidance at all, and they're just like insane. Like there's cases where kids are like almost like animalistic in certain cases, but where's their morality that was given to them from above? Why don't they have that? They don't have any understanding. They don't know the world yet. They weren't taught anything.
But maybe there is something spiritual about the understanding itself, where we are more like the vessels through which either we get the understanding or the understanding passes us by when we're raised by wolves or something. I think this is why there would have been, primitive people back in the day and still primitive people around today, that they don't have that understanding. The difference that I would say is that Owen sees it as being a spiritual understanding, while you see it as being more of a practical understanding. That I would say is the big difference.
This is the last thing I'm going to say because I got to go. I actually think evolution is spiritual. I think there is something insanely deistic going on with evolution. That's what I think. I mean,
why'd you bury this till now, Gnostic? Why?
That could be a whole nother.
Tell me why.
No, we're gonna continue doing this. Gio, listen. Gnostic, listen, we're going to have a Gnostic debate coming up, Gnosticism versus Christianity. This is happening on January 6th. A very interesting date, to say the least.
I'll see if it might be a later date, but hopefully the 6th. I just have to see if Tyler Hamilton wants to join me.